At the dawn of the 20th century, immigrants flocked to the shores of America. Fleeing the economic and political hardships that plagued a weary Europe, they came seeking better lives for themselves and their families. Even in the midst of a Great Depression, these newly arrived citizens embraced their adopted land. The promise of America, the idea that anyone, regardless of class or circumstance, could rise to prosperity through ingenuity and determination, was an ever-present beacon of hope for themselves and for their children. It was the next generation, bred with old-world values, but born and educated as Americans, who would truly build upon the foundations of liberty and opportunity. And while many of the children of immigrants found success, a few exceeded all expectations, even to the point of adding new threads to the hardy fabric of American free enterprise. One of these is Albert J. Amatuzio. Al took a proven technology, synthetic lubrication, and applied it in an entirely unique way. And from this one revolutionary idea, a new company was born. Countless lives have been enriched, and an entire industry has been transformed. But Al Amatuzio's road has been a long and undulating climb. His path arcs from a hardscrabble immigrant neighborhood to the fringes of Earth's atmosphere, and finally, to the boardroom of a global manufacturing and distribution enterprise. He has faced hardship, skepticism, and crisis, and met every challenge with a trademark blend of dogged determination and tireless optimism.
A lot of people would have been content with being a lieutenant colonel in the Minnesota Air National Guard and a pilot who competed with the best in all of the military.
But he had a dream. And it is rare to find someone with a dream like that, fighting all the odds.
He was being resisted by everybody and everything.
And you don't tell Al you can't do it. You just don't tell him that.
Al had tremendous faith in the fact that synthetic oil was eventually going to become a very big factor in the marketplace.
And it's only because of Al Amatuzio that the industry has grown like it is.
Al, he wasn't there too long before he began spending time in my office reading technical publications on lubrication, synthetic oil.
And he said, all the jets in the world use this oil. I remember him saying that. He said, well, wouldn't it be good in cars?
I think what got Al interested in synthetic lubricants is the knowledge that jet airplane he was flying was surviving and able to survive because synthetic lubricants were used in that engine to cool it and lubricate it. He understood and knew that a normal mineral oil would not survive that environment. So I think what he did is said, hey, the environment in this jet engine is very, very severe, but then again, the environment within the gasoline engine is not a whole lot less severe. I think there's advantages for synthetic lubricants to be used in the automobile engine.
Seeds of ambition sown years earlier, glimpsed in a young boy's contemplation of cars crossing a bridge, in the goal printed in a high school yearbook, and in lessons absorbed from an enterprising businesswoman, were about to bear fruit. After years of witnessing firsthand the advantages of synthetic lubricants in jet engines, Al Amatuzio's mind had fixed on a new goal. Why not in cars?
And that's when he got the whole idea to go into business with synthetic oil, his Amsoil company. And you know, at the time, people were poo-pooing it.
When he first came out with his synthetic oil, they said, Al, I think he's been on altitude too long without oxygen.
There was an officer down in St. Paul that I knew quite well, who was an insurance man, who called Ammo's oil moose milk. And he says, Ammo's going to go broke. Monkey with his moose milk.
In fact, Al's idea was based on established science. His concept was the application of a highly developed technology to a need as old as the internal combustion engine itself.
What you do is, under dynamic loads, you build a thin film. It's a barrier. It's a barrier film, and as long as those metal surfaces are not rubbing against each other, you don't wear.
But a film of conventional petroleum motor oil, also known as mineral oil because the base fluid is refined from crude oil, is doomed to fail as the random molecules interact and break down. In contrast, the base fluid of a synthetic lubricant is engineered in a laboratory to have strong, uniform molecules.
And that is the simple concept of synthetics. The base fluids have much stronger films than a petroleum.
In addition, the chemical potpourri in mineral oil includes waxes that cause the oil to thicken at low temperatures, even into a solid. Again, synthetic oils are chemically uniform.
The advantages that the products have is they have extremely good fluidity at low temperatures. And that's something that a normal mineral oil just cannot achieve, even with the heavy use of chemicals. So low temperature fluidity is the major advantage. High temperature thermal stability is the other advantage.
When you can put together a fluid that is very stable, right, especially at high temperatures, it has the opportunity to last longer. You don't need the same intensive use of antioxidants. The acid number doesn't rise as rapidly, and you don't break down, you don't get the tars, sludge, and varnish. Therefore, it lasts longer.
A synthetic motor oil would offer consumers a quantum leap in quality and performance. Benefits would include reduced friction and wear, particularly at extreme temperatures. The lead driver for Gurney's team was racing legend Bobby Unser. For over a decade, Unser had dominated the grueling annual road race up Colorado's Pikes Peak. But Unser was having problems with the gears in his Pikes Peak car. The rear end kept failing after just a single day. In desperation, he contacted Al and begged him for some Amsoil.
So thing to do, and I put it in, and lo and behold, my rear end, to show you the difference, would not only last one day, it would last through all the practice session, which was 3 days, qualifying day, which you run further, and race day, and be good for next year. Now, that's the biggest gain I've ever made on a lubricant in my life.
In California, Tomlinson continued working the racing circuit, where Al's new promotional materials were giving Amsoil's credibility another shot in the arm.
I was just thrilled when we finally got a great advertising program and a nice label, and this was the first of the Amsoil labels. Here is some of the first literature. We had some real legitimacy and some nice product presentation. This was a driver that we sponsored and had the Amsoil stickers. And here I am handing him the check in my polyester leisure suit.
Without a doubt, the biggest prize in racing was the Indianapolis 500. And Bobby Unser was one of Indy's shining stars. By now, Unser was a strong believer in Al's product and a close friend, but the big oil companies had a lock on his sponsorship. That didn't keep Unser from doing what was needed to win.
So I'd carry the oil in, and I'd just set it in the garage along on the floor so everybody would see it. If it'd be a 5-gallon can, it'd be a 5-gallon can. If it'd be in quarts, it'd be in quarts. It'd all say Valvoline on it, or whoever was doing it in those days. And inside would be Amsoil.
Bobby Unser has won the Indianapolis 500.
To successfully market a motor oil, there are 2 sets of 3 letters that mean more than all the racing testimonials on earth. API is the acronym for the American Petroleum Institute. SAE stands for the Society of Automotive Engineers. These letters can only be applied to products officially certified through rigorous testing to have met or exceeded the performance standards of these official agencies. In 1972, Amsoil became the first 100% synthetic motor oil to earn these qualifications.
When you build an engine oil, you must meet all the criteria that has been put out by the automobile, the Society of Automotive Engineers, okay, American Petroleum Institute. Your product has to meet all of the criteria.
The happiest day for me was when Al spent the money, and he spent a lot of money to go down to San Antonio and get the SAE rating on Amsoil. And that was, to me, was when it became really no longer a research project, but you had a product on the market, and it was off and running.
And yet, even with the legitimacy afforded by the official certifications, Al wasn't pulling any punches. His label trumpeted Amsoil's extended drain interval, the recommendation for changing oil, as an astonishing 1 year or 25,000 miles. Al was placing Amsoil far above the industry standards. He was proclaiming the highest quality motor oil on the market.
I think that's one of the best things about Al Amatuzio. Al Amatuzio will not go into the marketplace with a product that is not the highest quality that he can possibly produce.